All right, first ride on the Norco site VLT.
No resource for me to enforce my right of speech, my lead me horse. I bear the torch. Let's march forth, July 4th. We set the course for this independent outreach. You say free, but I feel the leash and I release the beast. Sick of the YouTube clips where the gun go click and the cop don't listen. An innocent man is dead in the room, and we got conflicts and the two don't mix, and we all on the news just throwing fits and we lose our cool.
First ride on the Norco site VLT. Let's see how she does. Feels so plush. Immediately I can tell the high pivot is back there. Feels really confident in the steep and chunky. That's for sure. Oh, that's awesome. It definitely feels big, not in a, oh my gosh, this is a boat way, but more just feels stretched out and over the front, which isn't a bad thing. I think that's a good position to be in when you're riding this kind of stuff. It's very confidence inspiring. The Schwalbe radials definitely feel different. I've got it at 30 in the front and 32 in the rear, and they feel like a little bit squirmy. Like I'm definitely going to need to get used to them if I were running them, but not a horrible feeling, just very apparent that they are there. Sweet. Yeah. Oh, this is the kind of stuff that it just loves, you can tell. It doesn't want to be on anything that's not steep and chunky. It feels really similar to the Da Vinci in size and length. I can tell there's a back end out there, but not in a cumbersome way. It definitely corners well. Yeah, it feels really capable for a 150, 160. Like big jumps and drops aren't going to bother it. All right, what am I thinking so far? Yeah, I'm gonna put a Tenet 32 mil stem on here with some 50 mil bars. That'll put my positioning up and a little bit closer, maybe here-ish. And I'll probably have to consciously weight the front doing that, but it's just a little far forward. Like I said, it's probably just something that I need to get used to, being stretched further out. It's not a bad thing, and if anything, it probably helps my tendencies of being too far in the back seat. On my Levo, I kind of fell into that trap. I did like the stack and being, you know, a taller rider, I did like being up a little bit more, but I definitely didn't need it. And when I over forked that to 170, that was really apparent. Like I didn't need the 50 mil bars, and that's why I went back to the stock 35 mil bars on my Levo before I sold it. And same thing with this. Like I don't feel like I'm falling into the trap. I feel like that's what the 50 mil bars are for, to bring your stack, you know, you can do it with spacers as well, but to bring it further up the stem that's going to, as it continues along the angle, bring your reach back a little bit, and obviously put your hands higher a little bit so you aren't going to feel as far forward and stretched out. And that's just because I sized up. You know, it's, if I had a bike that was a 500 mil reach and this kind of stack, like, I would absolutely run the stock bars. And I think that too many people ride in the back seat. That's why they wash. They get bad form on steeps. You know, I even do it myself. Like, you have to consciously lean forward, or you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. And I think that 50 mil bars can make that a lot worse if you're not careful. So definitely don't do it just because, you know, you think they look cool or you think you need a more upright position. Like, test out what stock feels like for you on all sorts of terrain. And it's not just about, you know, maybe jump lines. The jump lines for sure probably benefit from 50 mil rise bars. It's more like BMX. But if you're riding like this kind of stuff, you know, steep skidders, being on that front end is really important. So there's my 2 cents on 50 mil bars. And I am going to do it, but not because I think they're cool or anything else. It's just because I feel like I'm a little bit in between sizes. I almost went with an S4 because that reach is 497. The wheelbase is like 1289, but I just felt like that was a little small, and I'd rather be overbiked than underbiked. I know that's going to maybe dumb down the trails a little bit. It's going to keep me from, you know, developing the skills quickly, managing this kind of stuff on a smaller bike, but being what I consider a forever bike. And you know, as I'm learning, I kind of want that confidence. It helps me cheat a little bit so that I can get exposure to this kind of stuff and conquer the mental side of it, and then work on the skill set. And I don't know, it's kind of a catch-22. You know, if you undersize and you're always regretting it, that's a bummer. If you oversize and you don't progress as fast because the bike is doing the work for you, also a bummer. But I do consciously work on stuff, so I felt pretty confident in being able to just get the size that Norco recommended, and I'm glad I did. Oh, so stable through the chunk. Nice. Yeah, the new Zev feels pretty good too. It feels really supple. It still has that support. Oh, the Lomer. Phew. Sick. So what are my final thoughts on that first impression ride? Let's start from front, go to back. So the tires, I can totally see why a lot of people would love them. They perfectly do the thing where you lower pressures. I just hate that feeling, guys. I don't like it. Radials aren't for me. That's fine. I could probably get used to it over time. I am a brand ambassador for Vittoria, so obviously those are my tires of choice. Even if I wasn't an ambassador, that is 100% my favorite setup, so I will be putting those on. The wheels, I don't really have anything to say about them. I mean, I cased some jumps and did some chunk and no dents, and I've got tubes in here, so pretty great. The brakes are pretty surprising. They're the Slate Evos. They did the job. You know, they are different feeling, and so it's important as someone who's putting content out to remember that just because it's different doesn't mean it's worse. These definitely performed. They're just different than the Mavens I've been running on both bikes. So yeah, I'll get used to them. They felt pretty good, honestly. The suspension did great. I did use all of my travel, and so we will be definitely putting some volume spacers in here, but it felt really good. I never felt like a harsh bottom out, and I never felt like I was undergunned. If anything, if I go to 170 on the front, it is going to be just for cockpit to raise it up a little bit. It is not going to be to make this bike bigger and burlier, because this handles everything I can throw at it for sure. Let's see, cockpit, definitely going to be putting 50 mil rise bars and a shorter stem on here just to bring back that reach down a little bit, make it feel a little less stretched out, but that's just a personal thing. I think you should do that on every bike. You should find what cockpit works for you. You know, if you're tall and your bike's a little undersized, maybe a 50 mil stem, lower rise bars like I did when I overforked my Levo. These pedals are so good. I love them so much. Tenant, thank you for making great products. I will continue to buy your stuff. Rear shock, same as the front. I think it is burly enough for everything I'm going to be able to throw at it. I'm just going to put probably another spacer in there. I think it feels better than the front just because it's coupled with a high pivot. High pivot's great. Dropper post, great. It's a dropper post. And then the Dior drivetrain did great. No issues skipping or clunking or anything like that. It felt really good. Never noticed the idler pulley. So front to back, guys, that bike is incredible. Climbing, it does very well. It's definitely a bigger bike, just something to get used to, not good or bad. And descending, same thing. It is a monster. It's gonna be able to handle everything I throw at it, and I'm stoked to be on it. It is such a good bike. It pairs very nicely with my Da Vinci in different ways, but like the Geo and ride feel is very similar. I would say that the Da Vinci's suppleness comes from a longer chainstay at 450, and the Norco's comes from a high pivot. I think that the front ends feel very similar, and I love them both. I think that's a great duo, but I do think I prefer a high pivot. I think it's pretty sweet. I don't know that I'm ever going to want to go back to something without it. You know, some people get on a Santa Cruz and they love the VPP. They never want to go back. That's kind of how I feel about this. I don't know if I can live without it. Sick. Sick. Look at going action. Wake up,